Good morning, Newer Nation. Happy Monday to you. Your girl is up trying to figure out life, and in my happy place, y'all know I'm the country girl, and I love being outdoors and the sounds of nature with a cool breeze coming along at the same time. I felt like we needed to talk today, so guess what? That's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk. And it's crazy because I was setting this up with a whole different setup. I was gonna use my laptop and we were gonna talk and get things going. And this morning when I got ready to do it, my laptop camera was like, nope, we're not gonna do that. And so I had set up my little portable mic with it because you know a lot of y'all like to tell me how to sound is trash. So I tried, but you know what? I thought this one monkey don't stop no show, and one microphone ain't gonna stop no show either. So I pulled out my handy dandy cell phone because I know, yes, the screen is cracked, but the camera still work, baby, and we gonna make it do what it do, honey, because as long as I can get the word out, that's all that matters, right? Okay, so New Orleans Nation, we are here, and I am trying out a segment that I think I'm going to call the Melanin Mix, because it's going to be a mixture of all kinds of things that either you guys post on social media or that I run into while I am doing my research. Just stuff that we can talk about. Not necessarily all true crime, but you know, this is a true crime girly, so there will be a criminalistic element to some things. But you know, whatever's clever. If it leans black, then we probably gonna talk about it at some point in time, okay? So today I just have a couple of stories that you guys had posted on the private discussion page that I felt like, you know what, they deserved a commentary or two from the country girl. And we're going to start off going to Pensacola, Florida, because this one here is a booger bear. Like, it's just some nigga shit, and then there's just some nigga shit. And this right here is some niggacious shit. It all started a woman named Alonda Coffey. She, again, lived in Pensacola, Florida, and she worked for the post office. Now, Alonda is 39 years old. Alonda Coffey, not Coffee, Coffey. Alonda is 39 years old. So we're talking about a woman that's good and grown, right? She lived with her mother, Yvonne, and her stepfather, James Pelzer. Now, let me pause for a second right here because there was some conversation on social media that this was Alonda's house where all of this stuff went down. Well, you know, the country girl, she tried to do her due diligence and go do some fact checking. And I can tell you with authority that this house where this incident happened did not belong to the victim. It belonged to her stepfather, James Pelzer. And I know this because I did some digging and I went and researched court records and deeds, and I pulled it up, and I found out that James Pelzer paid off the mortgage at his house at 2561 Gulf Breeze Boulevard on March 22nd, 2002. So, house is in stepdaddy's name. It was his house. I just want to put that out there because, again, there was some conversation that all of this shit went down in this girl's house, which is tragic in and of itself, just what happened to her. But again, you know, I like to get the details, right? And in this particular case, the detail is that this house belonged to Alonda's stepfather. Okay, got that out the way. Not that it matters, but, you know, again, point of contention. Well, stepdaddy was also good and grown. We talking 64 years old. That motherfucker was grown. And I looked at the street view of the neighborhood because, you know, I'm nosy like that. And this seems like a really nice neighborhood. Everybody's grass was good. Wasn't no trash. Wasn't no cars sitting up on blocks. You know what I'm saying? No refrigerators out there in the yard. None of that shit. Just perfectly cut grass. Everybody's nice cars in driveways, you know. None of that riffraff shit that you might have expected for the foolishness that went the fuck down at this house, right? Well, again, decent, hard-working neighborhood. At least that's what it appears, right? Well, on the morning of April 19th, which was about, what, 7 days ago, 8 days ago, it seemed like it was going to be a regular, degular Sunday morning. I mean, easy like Sunday morning pops into my head. Alonda and her mother were in the kitchen chilling. And, you know, in my mind, I've been in the kitchen with my daughter, you know, us shooting the shit on a Sunday morning. So I'm thinking that this is what this is. Because, mind you, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, Miss Yvonne and Alonda are in the kitchen doing what they do. Well, here come James, stepdaddy, into the kitchen a little while later while Alonda and her mama, Miss Yvonne, are in there kicking it. Now, I don't know how this actually went down, but in some way, shape, form, or fashion, James wants to walk by Alonda to get to another part of the kitchen. And apparently he either brushed against her or something. What happens next goes down in the history books of fuckery. Miss Yvonne, Alonda's mama, she tells Alonda, move out the way for James. Okay. Pause for that. We're going to come back to that. And then Alonda, grown ass, 39-year-old Alonda, all she said was, Mama, he could have said, excuse me. And that's a true fucking statement. All he had to do if he wanted to come by her was say, excuse me, get out the way, or whatever. Now, after Alonda says what she says, Mama, he could have said, excuse me. For me, the only acceptable thing from James would either been to keep on going around her or to say something slick back. Like, you know, at this point, it would have been acceptable for him to say, you can get the fuck out my house if you don't want to move out my way. I mean, because it was his house. What I'm trying to say is I would have been down for all types of back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Let's sit here and read each other this quiet Sunday morning. It should have only been words. This was not a situation that should have escalated in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but it did. After Alonda said what she said, James didn't say shit. He turned around and walked out the kitchen. I can imagine Alonda and her mama, Miss Yvonne, probably traded a look or whatever, like, he on one, whatever the case may be. But baby, a couple of seconds later, here comes James, the stepdaddy, back into the kitchen. He still ain't said a word. What that motherfucker did was pulled out a pistol and unloaded the clip on Alonda's ass. Now, I think it was a revolver, so it wasn't no clip. What is that, a chamber? I don't know. Whatever it is, he put a whole lot of bullets into his stepdaughter, all because she said, Mama, he could have said, excuse me. Oh, my Lord. What in the entire fuck? My flabber was gassed. I'm still clutching pearls. Like, that is not A to B. That's not 1 + 1 = 2. That's, you crashed the fuck out. And it actually gets worse because, of course, Miss Yvonne jumps up and she is running to her daughter on the floor, cradling her daughter. I can see her in my mind crying and moaning because her daughter is on the goddamn floor, and just 2 seconds ago, she was standing up shooting the shit with her daughter. Miss Yvonne on the floor crying. This motherfucker James looks at the scene, sees his handiwork, sees his wife damn near prostrate on the floor over her daughter who is bleeding out all over the linoleum. Miss Yvonne started praying. Makes sense to me. My daughter got a whole bunch of holes in her. Her blood is on the floor. The life energy is seeping out of her. God, please don't take my baby. God, please let it be all right. I can see that. I can feel that. That punk ass motherfucker James had the motherfucking audacity to tell his wife, who's laying there with her daughter, to be quiet. Let me tell you something, how I would have been a widow right then and there. Because, baby, ain't no motherfucking way James would have been able to get his ass out of that house without me being on him like white on rice. Baby, we'd have had a 2 for 1 because ain't no goddamn way. But no, Miss Yvonne, overcome with emotion, she more worried about her daughter on the floor. I feel that everybody ain't ready for vengeance immediately. Well, James puts her ass, calls 911 and tells them that they need to come because he done fucked up. You think? Before 911 gets there, James puts the gun on the Bible and then he walks outside to wait for the police. The police pull up. James is outside on the ground, hands, I guess, laced behind his head or whatever, assuming the position. But at this point, it's too late. Alonda is gone. Like, duh. boom. What the fuck? All because he wanted to walk by her in the motherfucking kitchen. There are no words, like no words at all for this foolishness. In my heart, what I want to know is, Miss Yvonne, why tell Alonda to move out the way? That really has bothered me and perturbed my soul, because I've been in a step-parent situation. I have been in step-parent shoes myself, and I have dealt with menfolk who are not the father of my kids. So, you know, there are third-party interests, if you will. And I can't think of a time ever in my life where I would tell my child to move out the way for somebody that was walking into the room that we already was in. Now, perhaps the only way that could possibly go down is if maybe, just maybe, James' pussy ass had been coming in from the grill, had a plate full of hot ass food. I probably would have said, babe, move out the way so James could put that food on the counter. Maybe. Maybe coming home from the store and you got a whole bunch of bags in your hand. Baby, move out the way. Let James get by you. That's all that comes to mind. Like, there's got to be some hot grease or something involved into the situation for me to fix my mouth to tell my kid to move out the way. But for me, what that did was crystallize that there was a contentious relationship between stepdaddy and stepdaughter. And that happens as well. We live in a society where everybody don't necessarily get along. What my folks used to say, we just can't sit horses. And that ain't nothing new in a step-parent type of situation. But again, 39 years old, this man 60-some-odd years old, and you don't know how to use your words? Instead, you pull out a pistol and take this girl's life? And now, you sitting in the Escambia County Jail charged with second-degree murder. Good. Serve your muck ass right. Now, when he went to court for his little, I guess, preliminary hearing, the motherfucker was in a toga. I was like, what the hell this nigga got on? I was looking in the comments, because, you know, the comments give you all the background. The comments said, in Florida, they call it a turtle suit. Y'all got to look up the picture. The motherfucker literally looked like a geriatric mutant nigga turtle. Like, what the fuck is this? But he tied up with some shit, you know what I'm saying? No straps, no nothing. But however, whatever, you deserve it. You deserve everything that's coming to you. I hope, y'all know how I feel about this, but I hope there's a big black nigga named Tiny. Got your ass bent over, touching the floor, taking you through that every motherfucking day and twice on Sunday, because nigga, really? You deserve everything that's coming to you. Everything. And Miss Yvonne, liquidate and move. You the wife, all that shit belong to you now. Liquidate and let's get up out of here, because baby, your husband ain't shit. And that's all I have to say about that. We're going to keep an eye on this story, and we will come back and update you as news becomes available. Now, moving on. There's another little something in the news. We're going to talk about David for a minute. You know, the artist, the singer. Now, I was not familiar with him. I'm a woman of a certain age and shit. I just don't know the young man. I've seen it before because his name is spelled funny. It's D4VID, David, you know what I'm saying? So I had seen that before, but I couldn't tell you a song he sang. If somebody had a gun to my head and was gonna take me out, if I couldn't name one, I couldn't, and I'd be going on to glory, honey. But that's not the point. I don't have to know a David song, but I do know the David story. At least what's out here in the atmosphere. There was a 14-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. 14. David, today, 2026, is 21 years old, and he has been in the music industry for about 4 to 5 years, depending on the source, which means, you know, he was around 17-ish when he got into the game. And I'm gonna tell you, I ain't here to try to sensationalize nothing. I ain't even necessarily playing detective today. I just know that this is a terribly sad story on so many different ways. It kind of harkens me to Robert Kelly. Not that I've heard any thing about David liking to pee on nobody or nothing like that, but clearly he like him young, because the girl is 14 years old. 14. Now, I don't know what it is about menfolk who like minors. I know it happens. Hell, I was a minor fucking with older men. Like, I know it happens, but I would like to think that as time goes on, that we as humans, we evolve, because there was a time in our history where it was commonplace for a man to have a bride that was 12, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? But we evolved past that. And there are still people who live in that mind frame that a female is there for their taking, no matter what the age. Now, I don't know what was going on in Celeste's home life. There are reports that, you know, her parents were trying to find her, but also reports that her parents knew exactly where she was with David. And I know in the entertainment industry, there are fans, stands, you know, groupies, whatever you want to call them, that follow celebrities. Sure, I get that. It's fine. However, age. This kid, to me, in the photos that I've seen, clearly looks like a child. Like a you can't buy a drink child. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, David, 21 years old, you know, at 21, he still got the mentality of, I ain't gonna say a youngster per se, but he's got a young, immature mind. So maybe in his mind, hanging out with a 13, 14-year-old girl was not a stretch. But what I don't understand is, for these people who are in the industry, people who have people in their lives, because it ain't just all entertainers. Somebody saw Celeste with David. And somebody, just like me, saw that this girl looks young. Where were the handlers for David that said, hey, how old is she? Ma'am, can I see some ID? David, let me holler at you for a minute. This is not a good look. Where were the handlers? And for me, the handlers were where they always are, over on the side, observing, seeing the bullshit that's going down, and not saying nothing. There were too many people, from music execs to other artists to friends and all types of people, who have talked about seeing David and Celeste together. How this young girl ended up in the trunk of his Tesla dismembered, deader than a motherfucker, I have no clue. But I do know it's a goddamn shame that she gone, because she was 14 years old. 14. Her parents, my heart goes out to them. It does. You know, I don't know what it's like to live a California lifestyle where you've got entertainment and in industry commonplace all around you. I do know that for me as a parent, my 14-year-old daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, when she was 12, her ass was in the house. If she was going somewhere, I was with her. And that's just the type of parent I am. And so when I think of all of these instances where there is an entertainer that is into some bullshit with an underage person, I don't care if we're talking about Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, I don't care who it is. There is always, to me, this element of, where were the parents? Like, if you're going to be in the studio because you want to be a singer, that's fine. But I'm going to be a momager. And wherever you are, wherever your body physically is, I'm going to be there too. So I don't get it. I don't get it. It does not compute to me, but I know this is not a perfect world, because if it was, everybody would be like me, darling. No, seriously. I know it takes all kind of people to make up a world. I know we have all types of parenting instincts and skills and ways that we raise our children. But at a certain point in time, the onus has got to go back to the parent. What the fuck is your kid? Like, you ain't out here running these goddamn streets. Like, I was scared of my mama. And to a certain extent, my children were scared of me, because they knew I'd fuck their ass up. And will still, they good and grown now. I got a 31-year-old and a 22-year-old, and they know mama do not play. Fuck around if you want to. So I don't get it. But I'm so sad because this young girl died a horrible death before she could even make it to adulthood. She didn't get a chance to live life, her life. And that in and of itself is a sin and a shame before God. Now, what's gonna happen to David? I don't know, because to me they've been slow walking this case. I mean, they've known for months that he was mixed up in some shit, or they thought he was mixed up in some shit, but they never got around to charging him. And now they arrested him, but they didn't charge them. And then now they've charged him. But it just seems like, I don't know if the case is there, if this is something that's more circumstantial, because nigga, it was your car. I don't know, but this too, we'll be watching this story, and when more news comes out, we'll come back and do an update. But for now, God rest in peace, young Celeste and David. I hope you got your money right, or you say some shit, cause baby, they finna run them motherfucking pockets. And that's what your monkey ass get for fucking with a 14-year-old. That's all I gotta say about it. I'm done. Child, today is true crime. You know, the mix is all about some criminalistic shit, because this next story that I found, man, let me tell you something. It's some evil, distraught people out here in this world. I ran across this story on the page, social media pages that you guys put up on the discussion group, and it was about a 2-year-old baby. Her name was Solia Williams. 2 years old, 24 months. And instead of being safe and protected and loved the way she deserved to be, she lost her life because she was placed into a home with people who were supposed to be protecting her, while the court system, judicial system, did some things with her mother. You know, shit happens. Somebody makes a report to DFACS, and a child is removed from the home. Now, it don't happen all the time when it need to happen, but sometimes it happens. And for whatever reason, Sulia's mother, her parenting skills were called into question. So Sulia was removed from her care. Her 2-year-old child was removed from her care. And, you know, the story got kind of convoluted, because the home where Sulia was placed, at first they said that the woman was an aunt of this little baby. Then it was the woman was a friend who knew Sulia's mama or whatever, and didn't want her to go into the system. You know, I'm gonna help my girl out type of situation. I don't know. But either way, Sulia is removed from her mother's home, and she is placed into someone else's home. And instead of being safe and cared for, Sulia was killed, murdered by a grown bitch at the placement home where she was supposed to be safe. And I'm not gonna spend much time on this, because I get real agitated when I talk about these kids that lose their lives for no fucking reason at all. But the system of family and children services is broken. We will take kids who possibly should have been able to stay at home and work some shit out with their parents through counseling and classes. And then there are other situations, we've talked about them on the podcast, where children are left in a home where there is clear and present danger. They are being neglected. You can see it. And the court system, the police, nobody says a word. They leave these children in these homes, and then the worst happens. But conversely, when you take a child from their home and put them in foster care, there has to be a system of checks and balances that actually works to make sure that the foster parents are good people. Now, from personal experience, I was a foster kid. I was a ward of the state of Georgia from like 9 years old until I signed myself out of foster care at 18. Whole nother story. We'll go into it another time. But understand this, I went through a whole lot of foster homes in those years, and I went through a whole lot of bad situations. I had to learn as a kid real quick how to size someone up in a couple of minutes, because my safety might depend on it. You know what I'm saying? I needed to know whose daddy, husband, brother, whatever male in the house was possibly going to be posted up outside the bathroom when I was taking my bath. You know, whose household I needed to put something behind the door because somebody liked to walk the halls at night. All of that to say there are bad people in the foster care system that are not there because they want to help. They're there because they want to check, or somebody got a habit, and foster kids are easy prey to feed to these predators. Sawyer was beat down, a 2-year-old beat down by the foster mother's girlfriend, wife, whatever the fuck this bitch was, and they tried to say that Sawyer fell and they didn't know what had happened, but you know, of course, medical examiner gonna do what medical examiner gonna do, and they see all these bruises and shit on this child, and they realize, oh, the place where she was supposed to be safe because we took her from her mama, sorry, we fucked the duck on that one. We got to do better. Our system is broken. You know, you got to take a test to be able to drive a car, but anybody can be a parent. Like, it's hard out here. Yes, it's hard, but goddamn, we got to do something. Again, I just wanted to throw that one out there because it was on the social media pages, but this one pisses me off real bad. Like, they all piss me off, but there's something about foster care that's my trigger. So y'all pray for that baby Sawyer Williams is resting in peace, and that she ain't got to worry about the bullshit no more because she's with the father. And her mother, sister girl, my heart goes out to you, because I don't care what the fuck was going on in your household, that was still your kid. You grew her, you birthed her, you loved her, and somebody else took her away from you. I hope you get the help you need, and I hope that you are able to make it through this and come out on the other side somewhat whole and healthy. That's all I got to say about that. Now, for everyone else, this is where I'm going to end because we're coming up on 30 minutes and your girl got to go. But from my podcast subscribers over at Supercast, there are a few more stories that I'm going to cover that I think that we need to talk about. So if you are not subscribed, honey, what you waiting on? Get your booty on over there to melaninmayhempodcast.supercast.com and start your subscription today. That's where you can get the alternate endings for the original story series. And also, I just pop in there from time to time and just throw some shit in there. And like this, there's something that I'll put on the podcast, but there's an extended version where we go deep a little bit on the subscription side. Again, that's www.melaninmayhempodcast.supercast.com for you to subscribe today. Until we get together again, y'all, I love you. I hope you have a fabulous day. And thank you for taking some time to rock with your favorite country girl. Mwah. Oh.